Hello, this is week 4 of my August videos where I'm talking about do's and don'ts of homeschooling. So for this week, we're talking about learning opportunities. Do seek learning opportunities, but don't make everything a learning opportunity. So on the do side, discussion, having a discussion with your kids when someone asks something deep, having a teachable moment pop up out of nowhere, sometimes that is a gift. Sometimes that is amazing. But it can't be all the time, every little single thing. Okay, so if something pops up and it's important to you and you see the value in having a discussion about it, by all means, take that teachable moment. Maybe you have a specific family value or belief that you think is really important that your kids understand and they are mentally ready to receive that information. Explain it to them. Have some time for them to kind of process that and ask questions. It's really important that they understand why you do the things you do, not just because mommy said so, because this is why. So having that kind of back and forth conversation can really be helpful and can actually help you out in the long run when they understand why, so they're not maybe there's not certain behaviors there because now they understand why your family does certain things. There's lots of ways that they can learn through observation. My girls love to help me in the kitchen, cooking and baking, maybe building. My husband likes to do like woodworking, so sometimes they'll go out in the shop and help him. Anything that you can do that is just part of your life and you're involving your kids can become a teachable moment, which is amazing. You can also just build your relationship because you're doing life with your kids. There's emotional benefits to that. You're building a relationship. It's just amazing. You can also teach them some emotional strategies to use when they're feeling angry or overwhelmed or really upset with something that's happening. And these are, we call them coping skills that they can use for their adult life, right? They can carry on into their adult life. And sadly, there are lots of people that I interact with and that I see that don't seem to have these coping strategies and these coping skills set in place. So when they get angry or upset or something doesn't go their way, they're kind of stuck in that immature phase of like throwing a tantrum, basically. It's kind of embarrassing when you see someone who should be well beyond that not able to process and have a handle on their emotions enough and just let their emotions completely take control of them. We like to have conversations in our house about the two parts of your brain because you have a thinking part and an emotional part, and they work well together. But sometimes when your emotions are high, your emotional part of your brain tends to take over, and this is when you may do and say things that you don't really want to do or say, and say things that you don't really mean. So having that conversation, practicing that with your kids when you see them getting frustrated, not letting it escalate to the point where they are like the point of no return, but then suggesting, hey, maybe you want to take in a couple deep breaths right now, or maybe you want to go in your room and say a quick prayer and ask Jesus to help you be patient with your sisters, or maybe you want to just change it up a little bit. Why don't you go take a break, have a drink of water, maybe have a snack, something that will just kind of redirect them, or maybe they're just hangry and they need a snack. So different things that you can kind of slip in throughout your day. I did talk about doing field trips and kind of seeking learning opportunities in different ways, so I'll drop that link in the description if you want to check out that video. Now over to the don't side. Don't make everything a learning opportunity. This is hard to do as a homeschool parent because you're so used to incorporating things and making them learning opportunities. But sometimes kids just need to play. Like, you don't have to make everything a learning opportunity. And I have seen this sometimes with my girls. They're playing with things and I interject with questions to try and make it learning, and they don't really receive it well because they just want to play. They don't want to think. And especially when kids are younger, they learn through playing, and they don't need an adult interrupting their thought process or their playing to quiz them with some questions like, hey, what color is that? Hey, how many blocks do you have there? Like, just let them play. Don't make everything a learning opportunity because it can quickly frustrate you and your child, and it's not good for your relationship if that's the only thing that they think like mommy's always or daddy's always trying to get me to be learning, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes they just need to play. Think about your own life. There are reasons that we don't work all the time and that we have downtime and that we do things that we enjoy just because we enjoy them for the pure benefit of just enjoying it, not the maybe financial piece there. So you might have a hobby and you just love doing it. It doesn't bring in any money, but it's joy. It brings you joy. It's the same with your kids. They're not going to want to be grilled with questions all day long. So there are times where they just need to play for the sake of playing. Young kids learn through play best. Just to remind you, I know I said that before, sometimes it's fun to go to the zoo and just go to the zoo. As a homeschool mom, I've been guilty of this. You can make anything learning. You can make a bingo sheet or a scavenger hunt. I mean, there are so many things that you can make or find. A life cycle diagram to complete, and then you have your kids walking around with their little clipboards and doing things and getting their learn on, which is awesome. But sometimes it's fun to just go to the zoo just to go to the zoo, just to see the animals. There's no agenda. There's no ulterior motive to going to the zoo. It doesn't have to be a field trip. So there's nothing wrong with making it a learning experience. I'm just saying, don't fall into the trap like I can and feel like everything has to be learning, because some things it's just fun to go just for fun, like the zoo or going on a walk or just letting your kids play with their blocks without making it into a math or geometry lesson. Do seek learning opportunities, but don't make everything a learning opportunity. You want your kids to have a nice balance of play and fun and learning.